Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 26, 2025 at approximately 9 p.m. PST. Now, I've made it my life's journey to remind people that working together we can make I hate that working together we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I build myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every movement I make by. Now, with this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have literally worked for thousands of other people with varying degrees of success, depending on their own personal efforts. Now, today we are going to be looking at energy flow and its relation to mental clarity. But before we get into it, I do want to tip my hat to Storm. He is the primary moderator that sits in the background to make sure the technology works. And rest assured, for me, that's a bit of a hiccup. Okay, he is also the one that helps ensure that problem children are gone before they can become a problem. Now, that in mind, if you've been a problem in the past and you come in and you're not causing a problem right now, then the odds are you're staying put. However, I have noticed that some people just don't learn. And if that's the case, the Storm does have a neat capacity of finding out who you are and removing you, even if you go and change your name. Okay, now for those of you that think that's being a little overprotective, well, let's face it, that is literally what I asked him to do. Now, with that in mind, okay, we have LA Moon floating around here. She is the primary moderator that shows up in the room on a regular basis to keep the conversation going. And almost invariably, she double checks to make sure my health is still holding, so that I don't go and pull another heart attack or worse, another stroke online. In all fairness, I've never had a stroke online. I'll keep it that way. Thank you very much. But with that in mind, okay, energy flow is a very simple thing. When you realize that energy works essentially the same way that water does, okay, you realize if you take a stream and you put a whole pile of clutter, a whole pile of junk and debris, it's going to stop the water from flowing freely. Okay, energy is affected by attitude and outlook. Eternity, how you doing? You are in with the gold. And Eternity is saying, hi, Kira.
Hello.
In all fairness, she said, hi, Keith, Kira, and friends. And Eternity, Kira says hello, just in case you didn't hear that.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Hi.
And there is LA Moon, and she's in the house. And yes, we did have dinner right before we came online. Now, when you take a look at energy, this is why I talk about clutter. Now, clutter, where it comes to energy, is not just physical stuff. It is your physical clutter, your emotional clutter, your mental clutter, and your spiritual clutter. Okay, this is why I say you start with your office area. Now, I'm looking at it, like I've got stuff on my desk because I've been working today. Ironically, not as much as I should be, at least not in my eyes. But what I have discovered is I've got most of the clutter off my office desk. I've been working. It'll be clear before the end of the night. One thing I will tell you, and I don't have it with me, of course not. My list is somewhere up front, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I do have that neat little notepad in case I got something I got to deal with, so I'll clear it off tonight. When you take a look at your office, that office literally boils down to where do you work on your finances? Where do you work on planning your days or your week's activity? Okay, now this may be an office desk. It may be you sitting on a recliner, maybe you do it at the dining room table, your call. In any event, get the clutter out of the way. Okay, now when I'm talking about cluttering, this will give you an idea. This handful of pens and what have you, you'd think wasn't really qualified as clutter. So we empty the pen cup. That works out well. No pen, no clutter. But I take a look at it and go, okay, how am I going to work with this side of it? Well, I'm looking at the office right now, and like I said, don't worry. Yeah, they're sharp scissors, but I've been playing with them for longer than most of you have been breathing. Okay, so I put the stuff in the bin that I require. Okay, because again, puts enough there I can work with. It also hopefully keeps me operational, but the trick with the office is whether we are talking about, whether we're talking about your house or your business, the office is the brain. Okay, and in the book that I'm writing, in the one book that I'm writing, an enhanced look at chakras. Okay, I do break down the chakras of a household. Okay, as best I can. Now the neat part there is it's just another energy system. The body, the household, the community, the country, it all operates the same way. And even the universe for that matter. And this is why I say it is all connected. Absolutely, I can turn things around and explain why it works. Now, it was put to me one day that if you can't explain it in simple terms, you don't know it well enough. Okay, so what I discovered was I had to figure out how to lay it out, how to explain it simply. What we got? Oh, there we go. LA goes, Storm made me little drawers for my desktop under the computer. Very handy. And that's just it. And that's exactly what I look at. Knickknacks, space savers, this sort of thing are great ways to organize. But be careful on how you do it. Okay. Now, I tend to try and keep 2 pencils and 2 pens in my cup here, simply because of the fact that it keeps it down to a minimum. The more freedom you've got to maneuver, the better off you are. Okay, and the easier your brain is going to work. Now again, don't take my word for it. Okay, if you haven't done this, it may be in your best interest to start working with it. Okay, now the reality is, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but when your office is cluttered, first of all, you don't necessarily think clearly. Emotions are likely a little shorter. Okay, a little bit more volatile, if you will. And the other option, of course, is that your ability to comprehend what other people are saying can be rather compromised. Okay, this is something to work with from your standpoint. Okay, in other words, clear the clutter out of the way and note the difference. But again, don't take my word for it. Okay, it's a simple issue. Do your own research. Do look at other people's research, absolutely. Because I'm telling you, there are things that you really would do well to learn by watching and by hearing about somebody else making the mistake. Okay, my idea is simple. I've made a lot of really stupid mistakes over the years. And one of the biggest ones I made was literally buying completely into the pattern, the chakra pattern, without questioning it. There we go. LA goes, one is for pens and pencils, one is for little tools, and another is for my manicure tools. Great use for old but pretty Kleenex boxes. Right now I got a lot of Kleenex boxes, just they're not empty. Come to think of it, I know who can probably put them to use. But that being said, what you have to look at with the energy, okay, is I've got bins all over the place here that I'm working with. The reality is when you cannot find what you're looking for, like if you take a look at it, I've got my scrap paper over on the left here. Okay, and no, I realize you can't see it. I've got it right here. I walk in, if I send somebody to my office, I can say, here's what I'm looking for. Here's where you pick it up. Okay. It is a simple issue of organization. Now, what you may not realize, and you may well have experienced it and not realized it. Have you ever noticed when you're in a room that's really cluttered, okay, that it's almost overwhelming? One of these days, I'm going to slap myself in the back of the head just to make sure I quit stumbling. I don't know if that'll work, but but what I did find is that when you're dealing with situations, if you do not have the room for the energy to flow, you'll feel stagnated. You'll feel like you've got a pace. You won't be able to settle down. I know many of you have experienced this and not put two and two together. Okay. And it's amazing how many people I tell that to. And they turn around and go, oh, I knew that already. My first thought is, if you knew it already, why are you still doing it? As soon as I figured out that my office layout was 3/4 of my problem, I started getting rid of the clutter. Now, after 7 years, my brain is working again. This is a weird feeling. Okay. I always felt like one brain cell went for a walk and the other one went to find it. Now it seems they're both coming home. What do we got here? LA goes, storm covered business boxes with contact paper. Looks like wood. And put his computer bits and tools into them. They're very nice and strong and useful. Operation Shutdown goes, my energy flow led me to this broadcast. So I'm hoping that, and I'm glad to see you, Operation. You are actually in with the silver. I'm hoping that means that you were looking for a way to jump your energy levels. Ellie goes, oh, and she starts laughing, goes, all roads lead to Rome, Operation. Now, I will tell you, that may be the case, but I've never been to Rome. Frankly, I've never been off the continent unless we count orbital. And that's a whole other conversation, which we're not getting into tonight. But one thing that is for certain, all roads don't lead to your success, but every road out there can lead to your mental clarity. And the whole catch to that, okay, is to literally take a look at everything that's going on around you. Whether it's mental, physical, spiritual, doesn't matter. Get the clutter and get everything that is not contributing to that easy flow. Get rid of it. As in, alter the thought process, alter the energy flow, alter anything, and you'll find it improves it. Because once you remove all the obstacles, what you're left with is a clear thought line. And I'll tell you, as soon as that happened for me, it is amazing how quickly my stress level dropped. Okay, it's also kind of amazing how quickly my energy level climbed. The neat part about it is when you look around, you've got all the clutter. Even if we just take a look, and I'm in the way. No, that didn't work. If you'll notice, that bookshelf over there, the top one, is now empty, aside from the books I've written. Okay, and that's all that goes on that one now. The other two below it are empty. You just can't see it because they're below the level of the bed. Okay. All the drawers behind me in the robot there. And I'm going to drop this one on Nathan's lap eventually. You know, all of that has been cleared out to the point I can now walk in and go, here's where the stuff is. I still got to move it around a little, but at least it's clear. The more the clearer the energy flows, the better off you are. LA goes, no, not the robot. Actually, LA, what I was just thinking was, the fact of the matter is, corporeals on all levels operate the same way. If you can find a label, find a name for something, it's one of these things that works really well, to help focus the energy on a success level. Yeah, and I goes, since Nathan's not here to do that, I'm looking for a name for him. Haven't figured out what it is yet. But you'll notice when we take a look at where the books are sitting, and this I blame on Nathan Holy. Get the energy flow running, and all of a sudden everything kicks into gear. If you notice where the books are sitting on the first shelf, it gives you the illusion of two legs. Okay, one on either side. And again, it's just a matter of perception. Like I told Nathan, like Nathan said in the first place, if you don't see the robot, that's no problem. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Okay, so now what I gotta do is center that shelf that you can see to extend the legs. Okay, because I'm telling you, it's starting to look more and more like an actual robot. Don't ask me what the name is. I'm open to suggestions at this point. And that's why I figure we'll drop it in Nathan's lap and see what he comes up with. But when you get the energy flow running properly, all of a sudden you don't have a complication. Okay, that's where the real kicker to it comes in. Okay, the biggest complication you're going to run into in all likelihood is that your brain is going to work so fast and your energy level is going to climb beyond recognition. Okay, but it takes time to let it happen. I will tell you, the jump in energy level can be exhausting at the same time. It's kind of like getting a shot of nitrous oxide when you're trying to drive. And no, I never did that, but I know some of you people have. Okay, one of the things I always look at, okay, is when I look at the energy flow, I can literally see the currents. Okay, when I see somebody move through the air, and I mean just walking, I don't mean just the ones that are flying. Okay, if I take my hand and I move it across the screen, I can literally see the shockwave in front of it and the tail behind it. Okay, much like watching your hand go through water. I see it the same way. This is why I only count. Well, technically I count 4 elements. Well, I do. You got fire, water, earth, and spirit. Now, most people split earth and water, but take a look at the patterns. Okay, when we're looking at energy flow, energy runs via the same pattern that water does. In other words, if you got clutter, it's going to cause a bottleneck. Okay, and that bottleneck is going to cause strain on the parts of your life that it is touching. Now, when we start with the brain, when you start with the organizational office, okay, excess pressure is going to cause brain fog. It's going to cause mental and emotional, it's going to cause mental and emotional hiccups. And LA's going, holy cow, I tried that and I can do it. Wow. Give it a shot, guys. It's amazing. I will tell you, if you get really good at it, it gets trippy. But you got to remember to focus in on the here and now at the same time. I had a problem one day when I was driving, when all of a sudden I could see all of it. This can be extremely disconcerting while you're driving, especially for the people on the sidewalks. But when you take a look at the reality, okay, and you go, okay, I require my brain to work a little more effectively. Well, my stroke scrambled my ability to focus for literally for 7 years. Actually, in all fairness, it's been just about 7.5, and it's finally back to working. Okay, what I would like to see happen with you guys. Yeah, LA goes, I can see aura, but hadn't tried seeing just energy. The neat part there, LA, and this goes for all of you. Every living entity, okay, every one of them has an aura. An aura is just a broad spectrum, is just a specialized form of energy that people are taught to see. But that same energy runs throughout the entirety of reality. Okay, and to coin a phrase, don't clutter my imagination with your reality. My imagination is well enough developed. I can clutter it all on my own. But what I will tell you is the clearer you've got things, the better off you are. Okay, and this is why I've even gone so far. These neat little containers. Okay, these many people used to use for drawer dividers. But I found out something neat with them. I got a whole pile of them up here on my desk. Okay, what am I using them for? The figures I've been painting. Again, we clear the energy and everything starts to move. Okay, and this is just one of those things. This is why I use the list method, because that literally helps putting it together. Yeah, and they goes, don't butter the bread of confusion. You know, and quite honestly, what that boils down to is this. Never confuse Confucian with Confucius. Or never confuse Confucius with Confusion, I'm not sure which. In either event, get the clutter out of the way. You get the energy flowing more readily, you will find things work really well. Here, here's a neat little trick for you. Okay, I've shown you this before. Take your hands, okay, and face them palms towards each other, a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch apart. Don't worry about touching the fingers, you don't have to. In all fairness, if you've got your hands separated and you concentrate for just a moment, you'll feel that energy flow between them. Understanding energy does not stop. Much like they will tell you water never stops. You can slow it down, you can freeze it. Absolutely. The neat part about it is the more control. Oh, there we go. Operation goes, I have a name for the robot, the Andrews Android. Which I appreciate that, Operation. And we have one vote in favor of it. We're going to have, I'm going to sit with it and see what comes up. One thing I will point out, the little munchkin is certainly not an android. For one reason, there is no movement in the poor thing. He's kind of stuck in one place, but we'll see what happens. I'm thinking maybe it'll do like my PC did years ago, way back when 3.5 inch drives were normal. Okay, my energy spiked and the poor thing threw up on my desk. Right, it literally spit out all of the guts of a 3.5 inch drive. Poor thing was never the same. Okay, when you're looking at the energy in your house and the energy flow, absolutely imperative you get everything that's not contributing to the energy flow, that's not encouraging a clear run. You start clearing that. Much like if you've got a stream near you and it doesn't seem to be running, you'll notice, and this is obvious for people that own houses, gutters are phenomenal at this. Okay, you put a bunch of leaves, a bunch of debris into a gutter, the energy does not flow. Okay, so you have to clear it out. Same thing with the energy in your house. So here's another neat little kicker for you. Your main door that you come into your house from outside. This only applies to some of you. But if you've got a mirror right at the end of that entrance door that faces the door, okay, you have one of two options if you desire to clear the energy. One, move the mirror. Okay, the reason for that is, is a mirror facing the door. The energy hits it and bounces straight back out. This is the energy of health, success, prosperity, you name it. It's out the door. So your two options, okay, one is you literally sit down, okay, you sit down and you go, okay, I'm moving the mirror. Now that may be just an issue of take the mirror and tilt it just a little so it's no longer sitting flat on the wall. Because the problem is it goes in and bounces straight back. If you take that mirror and you twist it just a little, it'll bounce instead of if it's right on and going back. You tilt it a little, it'll come in and bounce into your house. This will help immensely. The second option is to either get actual plants around that thing. Okay, one of the best ones for that purpose would be ivy. Okay, or even if you've got plastic plants and you can't keep them alive, or even decals, the energy of the plant will actually break that bounce. Net result, all of a sudden you will find things start to climb. But again, it is literally up to you. If you leave your clutter the way it is, I'm telling you, and again, don't take my word for it, but I'm telling you, you're going to end up with an interesting annoyance. The energy won't clear up as quickly as you'd like. Okay? And the reason for that is because, well, if energy is running in one fashion and you don't make a change to it, it will continue running in that pattern. In case you forget that one law of mobility. Okay, and I don't know what the actual law was. I'm pretty certain Frank's going to fill us in on that. Okay, but here's the kicker. Okay, a body at rest will remain at rest, and a body in motion will remain in motion until influenced by an outside source. What this means is if your life is not running the way you'd like it to, you have to be the one to change it. You've got to be the one to alter it. Okay, this is why I am putting so much effort into altering how things are running for me. Okay, it's also why I am starting to reach out to people as best I can. Mental clarity, what do we got here? LA goes, I had a full-length mirror that faced the door. I ended up moving it about 3 feet past the reflection and sending the energy back into the room. Fabulous. How did that turn out for you, LA? Because I'm laying odds you found the energy all of a sudden climbed at one heck of a rate. Okay, now I don't have a mirror at my door, I don't think. Now I'm curious. Okay, by the way, a mirror does not have to be a quote unquote mirror. Anything reflective, and yes, this also means, by the way, a picture with a glass front is still a reflective surface. Okay, kind of necessary. Not a problem there, operation. This is one of the things I'm looking at. And I think that's one of the neat little things. We've done that already, but we're going to go back over this. Pen. I know this is something we've dealt with before. Okay. But I do believe we've got today and tomorrow worked out. I've got to take a look at Friday. But I do believe we're looking at energy flow, mental clarity, physical health. Now, Friday, and I just wrote it down here, we've covered this topic before, but we're going to take another look at Feng Shui and find out why it may or may not be working for you. Well, there we go. LA goes very well. The room is much better, and so is the prosperity. This is fantastic. Whoa, how are you? You're in with honorable mention. The neat part now, we're going to look on Friday at Feng Shui, and we're going to take a look at the details as to why it works. Okay, and why you may be having problems with it. One of the biggest things that we got to realize is, let me ask you this. I'd ask you for a show of hands, but how many of you, or which ones of you, are ready to take control of your life and really make it prosperous? And I mean prosperous in your eyes, not in anybody else's. Okay, I'm talking just in yours. Now, it may be prosperous in others, but when you get the energy flowing, and this is why I've got, what have I got there? Actually, that's not a bad thing. See, I've got these two neat little knickknacks that I got. Okay. Now they're just a stone. Okay. This one says peace. Okay. And we have this one here that says hope. I've got these on the windowsill right in front of me. Okay. Intriguingly enough, they sit on the windowsill on either side of the sign that I've got that says I am worth it. Massive energy boost. Okay. And the reason it works is because words do carry energy. The more clutter you get rid of, the easier it is to see this, the easier it is to experience it. And again, don't take my word for it. Okay. And this is why I say, yes, I will let you know what works for me. Absolutely. But if you haven't given it a shot and you're still having trouble, now is the time to start altering that energy flow, to start clearing the energy out of the clutter out of the way. Okay. And there are hiccups in the whole concept of mental linguistics. Okay. With the energy cluttered, you're going to have trouble, in all likelihood, straightening your mind out. Okay. Now, do understand, my mind is already a lost cause. Okay. I made the mistake for years of trying to figure out, and that was my first mistake. Okay. Or one of the quick ones. But I kept attempting to figure out how to fit in, how to think like other people. And, I found out that, number one, it doesn't work that way. Joe, how you doing? Joe Monk is in the house. And what do we got here? One operation we came in with. I'm just double checking here, Joe. We had turned in with the gold operation with silver. Then we had Wu came in with bronze. Wu, I missed that point. And this, by the way, means, Joe, you are in with honorable mention. The reality of it is this. Okay. When you take a look at where your life is, yes, you can do like I did. I did it for years. Point the finger at everybody else. It was my family's fault. It was the government's fault. It was the doctor's fault. Okay. Heck, I even went so far as to walk away from God for a while. And no, I'm not going to get on oh, yes, there we are. I'm going to do exactly what I think and what I keep telling you I'm not. Now, you've seen the Bible. Now, I've told you I read this thing. I've actually read the Old Testament. But here's as close as I'm ever going to get to be a Bible thumper. Put the Bible on the hand, it's a Bible thumper. That's the most I ever worry about with it. Now you'll notice I hit it with an open palm. 2 reasons. 1, not interested in hurting my hand. But the fact of the matter is, when I take a look at the energy flow, I walk into somebody's house or into a restaurant, and I can see exactly where the clutter is. I can see exactly where the bottleneck is. And yes, for those of you that are wondering, I can absolutely do it over a video. Okay, over a video uplink. The neat part about it is this. People have asked me if I do any energy work long distance. The short answer is I do some. The reason I don't broadcast doing energy healing over a distance is because nobody can get definitive quantitative evidence for it. Okay. And we have Cowie, welcome aboard. Glad you could join us. Whoop. Well, I'm not gonna repeat that directly. But Joe goes, I like having an honorable mention on this site, but I am a complete dip. That is not what he said. I'm not repeating what he said because that's just me. Okay. So if you're in the chat room, you can see what he actually said. If you're not, deal with it. Okay. The reality of it is, when you look at energy, the more you actually guide where it goes. Joe goes, I have about 7 different Bibles. I used to have, and I got rid of a lot of them. I used to have a copy of my Bible. Actually, I've got a few of them. One of the Church of Latter-day Saints. That one I've still got. I used to have a copy of the Quran, a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, and a number of other ones. The only one I've actually read cover to cover, and I haven't got to the back cover yet, is the Bible I grew up with. Okay, but again, I'm reading it because I gave my father my word I would. Again, it clears up. The more you understand why you're thinking the way you're thinking, the easier it is to alter what you're thinking. Again, this becomes a very important little factor. One thing I did find, if you're having trouble, if you're feeling really sluggish, okay, well, I will tell you this. The odds are you've got too much clutter in either your living room where your living room where all sorts of things happen, or in your bedroom where you're supposed to be able to relax. Clutter, when you plug up the energy flow, your brain doesn't work right. Okay, it just doesn't. Now, again, don't take my word for it. If you're having trouble keeping your brain running properly, really thinking clearly, clear the stuff out of the way. Okay, now there are a lot of people that will tell you, oh, I do energy work, I can come in and clear a room. Okay, and I can clear the energy in a room. There's no doubt they can. But here's the kicker to it. I'm going to come in and clear the energy out of your room. No problem. Walk in, feels like a cesspool. Okay, and yours may not. I'm talking just looking at different people. I walk in and go, okay, let's clear the room, no problem. But if the clutter and the junk and the patterns are left the same, that clutter is going to get back to where it was. Joe goes, for a long time, I thought, when I was young, I thought there was one Bible that I went into a bookstore. Well, yes, I went into a bookstore and realized there are about 800 different Bibles. Well, I got a really bad update for you. Okay? In just the Christian religion, they've got according to the internet, they've got 45,000 different denominations. It would not shock me to find they all have a different Bible. I don't know for certain. Okay, I do know that whether you are poor, rich, a Democrat, a Republican, a liberal, a conservative, okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who you're sleeping with. Energy works the exact same way for everybody. It's kind of like you notice, you go down and you take half a dozen people that are falling downstairs. I'll guarantee gravity does not check who you voted for before it takes your body and bounces it off a few dozen steps. And I will tell you, by the time you get to the bottom, that bruise doesn't really care much either. I am one of the few people that I've met literally sit there and go, okay, I'm in the middle of a heart attack. I don't have time for this, so I'm not having it. And I can discard the heart attack. I'm telling you, it's a trick that is really useful if you're having multiple heart attacks. Do not do what I did. Okay, I'm going to deal with this because of the fact that, well, frankly, the doctors are having trouble with me. Okay, I'm telling you, most of the trained professionals have a better understanding of the way your bioenergy works, how your body actually functions, than you likely do. So talk to the people that know. Where it comes to the energy flow in your house, here we go. LA goes, Google says there are 450 English language Bibles, 2,000 plus for other languages. Well, we've just gone from 800 to 2,500 to just about 2,500. I'm thinking this is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay? And before anybody comes up with that brilliant question, I've got all these books on the go. Keith, when are you going to write a Bible? I'm not. Okay, I just have no interest in it. Okay, and the reality is, when I look at energy, the number of different people I've talked to with the number of different belief structures, I found the same thing. Energy works the same way for all of them and for every species I've dealt with. You know, when I watch a horse run across a field, I can see the shockwave in front of them. Okay, it's a great thing. I can't track auditory input at all. You know, it can be going off all over the place. I can't pin it down. But I will tell you, the more you get the energy running smoothly, and that simply means if you've got things set up in your office, if they aren't running smoothly, make an adjustment. Where I made this little adjustment with those two little stones I just showed you. They were about 8 inches apart. Okay, off the end of the sign that says I am worth it. I made a simple shift. They're now right in line with it, and the increase in the energy is so much higher. It is absolutely incredible. LA goes, I think it's interesting that there's that many. But then there are over 8 billion people, so there's bound to be a number of translations and opinions. And Joe adds, oh, when I died, it was fun. Bible and all that stuff didn't matter. Well, you know, the book, I mean, it's got some good points to it. I'm sure of it. Now, I've got my own opinion on what I've read. Of course, I had my own opinion when I read part of Pet Cemetery. Okay. Not quite in the same genre, I don't think. You get to pick that. Okay. One thing I will tell you, the more you focus on clearing the stuff out of the way that doesn't add up, okay, that is holding things. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, the Bible wasn't on my mind either. I've looked, I like people that have a belief structure that they're willing to back up. Okay. The one thing that we have to realize, and energy plays a very big role in this, the more relaxed people are, okay, and the more you let the energy settle into a static pattern, the easier it's going to be to get along with the people around you. By the way, when I talk about people, I'm referring to not only people, Okay, I'm referring to four-legged, fuzzy, feathered, and scaled people as well, not to mention the people that have all kinds of chlorophyll in them. Okay, Joe goes, I ended up in a beautiful alpine meadow. Don't know why. Showed up, somebody showed up that told me I should come back, and I did. Gee, I didn't get told I should come back. I told I had no option. I had to go back. I was not impressed. Okay, bear in mind, I've never been actually suicidal. Nearly got myself killed because of curiosity, but that would have been an accident. But again, the more I get the clutter out of my house, out of my office, and out of my room in general, the more readily things move, and the easier it is to relax. And this, in today's world, is critical. Now, here's another neat little tidbit for you. Yes, we're on a video stream right now. We're on a computer stream. But I will tell you, okay, when you take a look at it, okay, if you're getting ready to wind down, and again, don't take my word for it. I should print that up there. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. When you're striving to wind down to get a decent night's sleep, okay, for the last hour of your day, no matter what your usual routine is, give this a shot. Shut your computer off. Shut your TV off. And I mean the video side of it. Okay, if you desire to listen to music, absolutely do so. I would recommend finding something relaxing, not something like Wipeout. Wipeout will not let you relax very much. Okay. What have we got? Oh, Ellie goes, yeah, I was sent back too. Heaven was so close and I couldn't breach the gate. Sent back and told I'd be back later. Yep. And you notice you still haven't got home. I keep getting asked when I show up at the other set of gates. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? I'm just coming to see a few friends. I don't stay in either place long. The reality of it is this. How you see your world, that is what you're going to replicate. That is what is going to be propagated. And it's absolutely critical that anything that is blocking that energy flow gets moved out of the way. It's absolutely critical that you do this. Okay. At least in my opinion it is, because what happens if you don't do it, okay, if you don't do it, what ends up happening is your energy will get scattered. Now, that interview, I did an interview for a guy a couple of years back. He told me he'd send me a copy of the video of the interview. Now, the one problem, every time I went to say something, can you picture this? He told me to keep my hands still, don't move. I'm like, okay, why? I mean, realistically, if I'm talking, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to move. This is going to be one very boring situation. I did the video to help him with something, right? Not a problem. He put the video to use. Yes, he sent me a copy of the link. Now, bear in mind, I did not get paid for this. And this is that thing about energy out, energy in. Okay? I put the effort in. Okay? I never got a nickel back from it. I was told I would get mentioned. I didn't even get the video for free. Okay? So what I found out is this. When I'm talking about clearing the energy for you, not for anybody else, just for you. When you do that, you will find that you find a much greater sense of peace. And yes, those two words I showed you, peace and hope, okay, very beneficial. Blue, how you doing? Glad to see you. I love the encouragement. I really do. Blue pipes up. He goes, tuned in for one of the best live stream YouTube channels out there. I really do appreciate the encouragement. And I look forward to the time when we have a lot more people, not just listening, but actually tuning in at the same time. We're getting, when I look at the videos, we're getting 60 to 70 viewers after the fact, which is great. Okay, and no, I do so. I was going to say I don't have my calculator, but I've got my cell phone. It's got one built in, which I have finally started working with. Oops, cancel that. So if I look at that, we're still looking at over 40,000 people getting access. Now, one of the things I will tell you, I am a professional procrastinator. What I'm doing is going, these are the tools I'm using. These are the ones that are working for me. Okay, critical factor here. When you go to do something, make sure you're getting what you desire out of it. This is not, realistically, thank you very much, LA. We are down to the 10-minute mark. Realistically, when you get the energy straightened out in your own home, okay, when you get the energy straightened out, you will feel mentally much clearer, much more energetic. In all likelihood, you will feel more upbeat. Okay, and I tell you, when the energy is running smoothly in a place, and you're actually working with it, even such annoying little things like self-termination thoughts or self-damaging thoughts go the way of the dodo bird. Okay, so I mean, this is one of those reasons why I tell people it's very necessary to take a look at the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling. Ask yourself this: am I the cause of it? I constantly remind people, when you're having trouble with a lot of people, look at the common denominator. And I will tell you, with very little variation, having a problem with a lot of different people, especially if it's about the same thing, odds are the common denominator is you. You control how your energy portrays. You control how your energy flow is running. Whether you're going to leave it cluttered with thoughts of anger, anxiety, depression, fear, whatever it is. Maybe you've got control issues. Okay, and people are looking at you going, oh, you're so demanding, you're so controlling. Control is a side effect of a feeling of inadequacy, of a feeling of inability. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, some of you, I'm going to say, you're striving to control so much, you're doing it because you're afraid. You're going, I'm not afraid of anything. Bad news. You may not be admitting it, but the root emotion behind control is fear. Okay, now, I like to tell people I don't fear people. And in a lot of ways, I really don't. I have a problem dealing with stupidity. And what I consider real stupidity is when you know something doesn't work and you decide to continue doing it anyway. This is just plain dense. Okay, this is why I got looking at what I was doing and going, not content, it's changing now. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay, and this is why when I said I was removing that mess, that night, as soon as I closed the stream down, I got up and cleared it. Okay, now I'm starting to get things sorted around. I don't know. Yeah, I got one book on that shelf. Okay, and the reason for it is I'm removing the clutter in my life in order to make certain that it comes to an end, that the clutter and the holdup comes to a close. And that is our marker. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, LA. Now, I do want to say thank you all for sharing your time with me tonight, with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Tomorrow, we are going to be looking at, where are we? Energy flow and your physical health. We're going to walk you through what happens as we get the energy running. Okay, that's tomorrow at 9 p.m. PST. Okay, but until then, do take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.